Well, that's not good. Oil pressure light came on and check engine light. So I attempted to get this thing home yesterday, and after fixing the brakes, which I did off camera, about 2 blocks from here, it decided to shut down on me and developed a huge vacuum leak, which is probably from some lines I disturbed. So let's see if she'll start up today so I could, figure out what this vacuum leak is. Well then, damn. Alright, it's very dark, you can't see me, but it's time for an adventure. This is the second time I'm taking the Civic home. Maybe this time we'll make it. Alright, we'll see if she makes it. I still don't know if you can see me, but I'm trying to get this car from my buddy's place to my house right now. 15-minute drive. We made it about 2 blocks last time. We'll see if she makes it. Alright, so we made it 1 block further so far than last time, so that's a plus. I'm giving it all she's got. All she's got. Alright, we're up to highway speeds. It's about 70. It's not bad. Well, we're off the highway. Now we got like 3 blocks to go. So far she's running well. And we're not gonna wait for that. God, this car's it's low. It's starting not to be happy now. She's flashing the oil pressure light. Still running. And we're home. The old Honda made it back home. Barely. She was dying at the light. I had to rev her to go, but it wouldn't have been possible without the emotional support of the wife here and Antonio with the tow vehicle and the support vehicle. Now I gotta fix it.
We'll get her good.
Yeah. Yeah, she got fucking hot. It did not like it. That last like 2 blocks, my asshole was in my throat. So we got the Civic in the garage now, and off camera I took some time to familiarize myself with the whole car and everything else. I've never really worked much on Hondas, so I just kind of wanted to assess what I'm gonna have to do and not do it in a parking lot that's like 110 degrees. I got the valve cover off, and it definitely confirms we have a failed head gasket. The timing belt looks good, but either way, I got a new one that's gonna get replaced. Another thing is all this wiring. We have all this wiring everywhere for the fan that somebody did some repairs on, and for whatever reason they thought the best thing to do would be just to tape it to the intake with some masking tape. So we're gonna have to cut that, reroute it, mount it properly, because all of it is unsecured, which is probably why it needed repairs in the first place, because it probably got sucked into the fan. Another wire that we have that somebody did some backyard engineering with is what looks like to me a jumper from one headlight to the other. I'll have to figure out where the short is and why one or the other headlight doesn't work, and remove this completely, clean up this wiring here. I had quite a decent amount of coolant in the oil, so that's going to be something we're going to adjust, obviously, with the head gasket. There's the brake booster that I put on and allowed just so I'd be able to have some brakes and drive it back. It does have a pretty significant oil pan gasket leak, so either way the exhaust manifold and the exhaust is going to come off, so it runs underneath it. That's the right time to do it, so I'll have to spend another $10-12 on another gasket and reseal that oil pan, because the hole underneath of it is covered and it's all coming from the oil pan. I tore apart a little bit of the interior. I'm gonna have to adjust the e-brake cables because the e-brake doesn't do anything for the first 15 feet you pull it, and I wanted to see what the issue was with the shifter. I got some shifter bushings, but that's not enough. I found why when you put it in gear you could move it this much. So as you can see, the oil leak is pretty significant. The whole bottom of the car is covered by it. But the nice thing is, because of the oil leak, the exhaust isn't rusty, so the bolts won't break when I remove it. So here's our free play on the shifter. You could see how much play that has, and that's a reason for it. And it's not bushings in here, it's actually this whole yoke that comes off of the actual shifter rod is all wallowed out. So I'm going to need a new one of these. I have other bushings that I already ordered for it, but I'm definitely going to have to look for a yoke. Other than that, we're going to clean this up some. I might steam clean this. Well, I'll have to steam clean this, but I might redo the valve cover and do like a wrinkle black and make it look a little bit nicer while it's out. Same with the timing cover gasket. I do have a new water pump, so I'll have to do that. Mechanically, there is not much free play in the suspension, but these greasable fittings, I'm gonna have to hit those. And there's some other aesthetic things that we'll get to probably in the next video, but for this one we're just gonna focus on the mechanical side of things and get this thing running properly and better than it probably has in 20 years. Alright, so the head is off. Surprisingly an easy job, or maybe not surprisingly because it's a Honda. I couldn't find on the crank pulley or anything how to set this thing to top dead center, so I did it the scumbag way. And I put in a long extension into the spark plug hole after removing the spark plug and rotated the engine till it was at the very top. I don't know, I looked online too, and I couldn't, they said there would be a mark. I couldn't find a mark. Whatever, doesn't matter. I tried to remove as little as possible so I don't have to make this job much longer, so I just pushed the intake manifold back and left it all connected and whatnot. When it comes to the head itself and the head gasket, it's hard to tell if this is from me just removing it and age, but I was told this thing lifted the head off, and all these fractures in the head gasket would suggest that is correct. Probably because it got overheated. Obviously, I have all new gaskets and a new water pump. One of the casualties, if you will, is this stud here pulled out, and it looks like it took some thread, so I'm going to have to hopefully chase that. I have all new exhaust gaskets. And take a look at this coolant. Yes, this is coolant that came out of this car, and that's all that was in it, for one. And two, That is disgusting. So now what we got to do is obviously remove this head gasket, clean it up. I'm going to put a straight edge on it, see if I have to do anything else. Hopefully I don't have to get it decked. Hopefully that I could just put a straight edge on it and call it good. Put the new head gasket on and put it back together.
On the floor, looking up, wanting more. This is so unreal. I must have been wrong, 'cause your love is strong for him. Why would it not be? He's always there for you. I keep living alone. Swept my feet off the ground, left me on the floor. Hard to resist, got me looking like this, like no one before. 'Cause I must be strong, 'cause this might go on for long. 'Cause I was wrong, and he's always there for you.
Alright, so we got the Honda back together. Let's recap what we did. Really the only things left are putting fluids in it, so coolant and oil. I will do that off camera because I have to MacGyver adapter to be able to bleed it, but that's neither here or there. Obviously the biggest thing we did a head gasket, which was actually surprisingly easy. It's easy car to work on. It was actually pretty fun to work on it. I polished this thing up because it looked awful. We changed the motor mount. I painted the timing cover. The brake booster we already had done. We also changed the spark plugs, valve cover gasket, obviously head gasket, and all the seals that go along with it. We did a water pump. I also found a bolt missing for one of the tensioners that was starting to back out, so I fixed that. Underneath the car, you can't really see much. I really didn't record much under the car because nobody wants to listen to me saying what the fuck 200 times because I had the car too low. But also underneath the car, we changed the oil pan gasket, and the oil pan gasket was leaking like a sieve, and the whole bottom of the car was covered, as you could see by all the brake clean I used just to clean that. All the parts I took off that I cleaned that were oil covered, those were steam cleaned. But trust me when I say that it was changed, and this is the oil pan gasket leftovers. Hopefully it doesn't leak anymore. Obviously it tells you I did a good job when we have all this hardware left over. I built it better than Honda did. Actually, that's not true. I replaced a lot of hardware that was in rough shape. We also did this motor mount, which I also found was loose and worn out. This air filter is still sitting here. As you could tell, it's not on there. I have to get a new air filter. This one is pretty worn out. You could see all the oil in the spark plugs, so we also did spark plugs as well. There's a paint I used, old oil filter and whatnot. So now what's left is starting it. I gotta put the fluids in it. I'll do that off camera. We'll get it started up, and hopefully I didn't screw anything up. All right, moment of truth is upon us. Time to try to start it. We've got power. Well, that's not good. Oil pressure light came on and check engine light. Fun fact I'll throw in here. If you want to check the check engine light on one of these old Civics, under here, there's this little blue connector. And what you do is you complete the circuit and then turn the ignition on, and you should get a blink code out of there. So now that we got that connected, we turn the key to the second position, and up here, I turn the light up so you can see better. It will give you blinks of what faults you have. Either way, that's how you do it. And in the link, I will put in what each blink code means, so you could do this yourself. I would say that was somewhat successful, but we do have a fault for coolant temperature, which is weird because the coolant temperature never went up when I ran it. I don't know if it's maybe from an air bubble. I'm not too worried about it. Once I have the car on the ground, I will make sure it's bled properly, and then we'll go from there. We did have the oil pressure light come on, and I looked at the sender, and the wiring on it looks a little rough, so I'm gonna have to revisit that. Unfortunately, old car problem. Next, we're gonna worry more about aesthetics, and this thing needs a lot in the aesthetic department. I have to clean up a bunch of overspray. It needs a wash, it needs a wax. As I said, the front bumper is gonna come off. I have to realign it because it's uneven. Many things, but that will be on the next episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.